because what I was going through was existing and it was real.
You're crossing the line. What you did was wrong.
We were a force to be reckoned with.
Can you walk up? No.
I'm not going to do that. Welcome to Woman Wednesdays, where grown-ass woman has grown-ass conversations. I'm Pat.
I'm Lisa.
Let's chat. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Aliza and I wanted to talk about friendships in this episode. I think it's very essential that we do that because you, our audience, and those who will be continue to chime in and watching, I'm sure there's a curiosity as to how did we connect to do this podcast. Who are these two women, right? That's sharing and talking not to say our business, but sharing what I would say is valuable information, or just having great conversations around certain topics. Better said, right? First and foremost, Lisa and I are two unique individuals. So what you see on camera is really who we are off camera. All of this playing games and being competitive and whatever. We are two grown-ass children in some ways, but we're mature right? We just know ourselves and we know how to be in certain what do you call it?
We know how to switch it on and switch it off.
And we know how to be.
We know when it's time to be serious and when
it's time to be whatever.
And when we can be our jokey,
and
foolish self.
We just understand certain cues. Like we legitimately can be in the same room, probably across the opposite end, and can cue into what we're seeing without anyone really see or notice what we're seeing until we come together and we're literally starts talking about what we're seeing. We're just that connected. But the beginning for friendship was a very interesting one. I remember it differently from Aliza.
And I say Aliza one more time. Are you my friend or are you not? Because if you're my friend, it's Lisa.
When I say that, it's because I'm playing around. See, she's getting sensitive. But what I'm saying is, overall, we both have different, because we go so far back. So we both have different knowledge of how we first met. So my first knowledge of my first encounter with Lisa is when I was we were living in a condo apartment. My ex and I and our daughter and his best friend, which is her ex, was over the home, and Lisa came to drop something off, and that's when I first met her. I remember because she was this skinny little thing, and I just remember she had this long luscious hair. She had just came from the hairdresser because her hair she had like curls in her hair. I remember. I could almost remember what she was wearing, right? And that was the first time we actually met, to my knowledge. However, Lisa seems to deem it differently from me.
Yes. Because I remember what you were wearing the first time I met you. You had on these little culottes, these little, what do you call those, capri, but they were the short ones or whatever. And I can't remember the top, but I remember the jeans specifically. And the reason why I remember is because just how your whole getup was. But we went to meet you, myself, my significant other at the time, and a girlfriend of mine that I actually grew up with. So this was a friend that I grew up in the same area. She came out with us and we went to a club. I can't remember the club, but I knew we were coming to meet you guys, but I didn't know you at the time. I met you there. And in that club, a kerfuffle happened, and that's, you would want to say that that's when I fell in love with her, but it's we're not, like, don't get it twisted. But why I say it that way is because the
friendship bloomed.
A situation took place at the club at the time it was happening between her ex and the bouncers. and she was right there, ready to throw down. She was right there. And it was just funny to watch her because she just knew. She moved in time and she knew. And she just jumped in. And all I saw when I saw her, I saw myself. Because we just know when to pivot, when to move, so she was right there at her partner's side and was ready to throw down with the bouncers. And we were coming out. He got thrown out. You were obviously, because you were there, so you were being escorted out at the same time. And here we are just waltzing coming through. We're just trying to, we know we have to get out, so we're just trying to get out at the same time.
Yeah.
But that was when I saw, it's literally like I saw myself in her.
Yeah.
And then
then it began?
Yes.
Okay,
and then
so
I believe
we're going to take, first and foremost, remember what we said.
Because then you had a barbecue at the apartment.
The next day?
No, not the next day, but then you had something at the apartment and we came over and me and you clicked. Because we were just talked about what happened then, and then we're talking about a bunch of stuff, and we got to find out that we are the same sign.
So we're the same sign. We're 6 days apart. So the problem is not that it's a problem. When we say we're grown-ass women having grown-ass conversation, that means the grown-ass woman's mind slips sometimes. So we can't figure out who's right from wrong. But just know that we connected on some circumstances.
Yeah.
But regardless, where we actually clicked even more so, and we knew our minds were the same, is when the same incident you're referring to, we had to go to court for not us, my spouse. Yeah. And she was pregnant, like fully like ready to give birth. And I was early pregnant.
They're what? How many months apart are they? March?
They're probably, I think like around 4 months apart.
They're 4 months apart, yeah.
But yours is older than mine.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So when it's just crazy the way we think. So keep in mind, when I'm pregnant now, this bouncer threw my ass outside for no reason whatsoever, because I was defending my man at the time, and I didn't know I was pregnant. Found out I was pregnant. We used that as the catalyst, because we had to be witness in the court. So in the court, we went on stand and we just told a story.
I want to make it clear that I was not big belly pregnant when the incident happened.
No, she wasn't. Yeah, okay. But she was fully like, fast forward.
I'm not kidding.
But the way we presented ourselves on that witness stand for the situation itself, like the what do you call it? Defendants, they were like straight up lying, but we called bullshit. And we literally called it. Mm-hmm. And we were on point. I mean, till the judge said he has never experienced witnesses like this before. That was us. That was Lisa and Pat. And that's when we connected, because we knew our minds were legitimately, because I don't know, you guys are watching.
We didn't sit down and talk.
We didn't talk about this. We didn't plan it. No. We just knew what we're going in, and we're going to talk our truth. Mm-hmm. But talking your truth is one thing, but it's how you speak it.
Yes.
You understand? Because you can just sit there and blur whatever, but we're so very intricate that our truth comes with a story, and that story follows, like you want to sit and hear what we're saying. Yeah. And that judge that was the day where we married as friends. But I'll tell you this, and at that point, funny enough, see, this is what I'm trying to figure out, because when I got married, I only had my one. And so at that time, I was then pregnant with the second then. I was now engaged to be married. As a matter of fact, no, I lie. You're right. We didn't know each other early. No, we didn't meet yet. What it was is that you came to my wedding. I remember you caught the bouquet, because when I got married, I was in my first apartment. When you officially came to my house is when we're in the penthouse. We're in the penthouse.
But when I met you first was in the club.
was in the club.
That's where I met you first.
Either which way, we were a force to be reckoned with, right? And ever since that, we just connected in many ways. Our significant others, they got themselves in trouble, and it was at that point when we had only us to bond,
even stronger,
to rely on, and to we just had each other. Period.
Yeah.
And we were so in sync and so connected that you could not really come between us. Till I think even a friend of mine was getting envious of our now new formed relationship, because it wasn't because we were just typical two females. We were just two strong individuals that just knew how to hold things down and be able to not think foolishly to get what we, to accomplish our goals or to get through life. We just really saw things for what they are, and we had to take a certain route to get there.
Our bond was there from jump because, again, one, our sign, so Libra, whether you believe in it or not, I do believe in it. It like literally we pretty much wear our signs on us.
Yeah.
So we connected based on who we are. So seeing her and how she moves automatically showed me that this girl is like literally like almost like my twin. In her movements and the way she thinks, and when we're reasoning, or as simple as, you've seen us play a game. We're competitive in the same manner. We will read people in the same manner. We could be, as she said, we could be standing feet apart, and I just have to give her a look, and she doesn't know which direction to look in to know what I'm talking about. And I've had over my years on this earth, I've had friends, I've had very close friends with me, but this particular bond is completely different. And you are right, people that you knew prior to even me, there was a little bit of envy, a little bit of jealousy there, because again, that bond, it was crazy. And so it kind of stood out for people to see, and people kind of felt away, especially if they were in her life or they were in my life prior to us meeting up. But the other thing that was really strong, and I think if you have a true friend, an ethical friend, if you are not able to be real with that friend, and put it to that friend when they need it to be put to. So when they need you to be able to give it to them straight, if you don't have the ability to do that with somebody and you call them your friend, they're not your friend. Between me and her, I definitely can tell her when she's wrong, when she's right. We've been accused of the fact that I ignite her. So when she's upset and she tells me whatever is going on, well, then I just reach in a second, I'm done at the same level she's at. And so I've been told that I ignite her, and, I heard it and I understood it. And I did even say at the time that, you know what, it's true that I should be able to be that person that kind of levels her down, not get there. But it's just automatic for us. We feel each other's pain and we're just ready to fight.
Well, I think I'll say one of the things that I appreciate where Lisa's concerned as a friend of mine, as I mentioned before, I'm a very strong-willed individual, and I'm very passionate, especially when I'm like angered, right? And my emotions get the best of me at times. But when I want to know the truth, or I want to hear the voice of reasoning, and I want to know if I should be accountable for something or not, I'm going to pick up the phone and call her before I call anybody else. Because one thing you must have in a friendship is a friend that is going to tell you exactly how you slice that cake. And if slicing that cake was wrong, using the wrong knife to slice the cake, the way you slice the cake, whatever the case may be, that person should be able to point these things out to you without you feeling bothered or, just overall bothered or upset. Because when you have people around you who's going to say yes to everything that you are doing or agree with everything that you are doing, and they know deep down that you're wrong, you can't call that friends, because friends are supposed to walk you through something, right? Because how would I know if I feel that I'm right, then I'm not going to change something that could be ultimately wrong,
necessary
right?
To change, yeah.
And so how would I need to be able to change according to what I'm not able, because often when you're wrong, you don't see you're wrong, right? You don't see it. And so therefore you continue to things that you are used to doing.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have someone who can hold you accountable or point out you're wrong to you without without even being judgmental.
Yeah.
And that's what I appreciate with you, because it's not a judgmental conversation or advice that you're giving me. You're literally just breaking it down where I'm wrong and why I'm wrong and where I may be right, but why I slipped into the wrong zone because I did this and I did that. I should have stayed in this way or whatever that may look like. I just appreciate her for that. And it's allowed me to grow in certain ways where I'm concerned. How I show up as a person, I learned,
and
from that.
That is, it's very important when it comes to who you are keeping around you and bringing them into your circle. So these people that you allow around you and can see, you're good, you're bad, you're ugly. You need that. If it's only one, some people can have more than one, but if you have that one that can hold you accountable, can look at you and
speak truth,
and
speak truth,
and let you know what it is.
And we're gonna dive into that a bit more, because I think that's a serious problem right now where friendships are concerned. And holding friends accountable for what they are doing, rather than celebrating their wrongs with them. You really need to really let them know that their decision or their action or whatever it is not cool. Right?
I had a girl when we went out not too long ago. It was my sister-in-law's friend actually, and she, she was talking about this podcast, and she wanted us to do something like this, something in regards to friendships. One of the things she wanted us to hit home about was, what does it look like, friendships after 40, right? What does that look like? And when I heard her say it, I was like, obviously, I love the fact that, whether it be that people meet me and who've seen the podcast, and we haven't had that many yet, but I've had people come up to me and be like, hey, can you talk about this or whatever it may be, or whether it be on social media, on Instagram, whatever, people will ask about certain things. So when I heard her ask about that, I was like, yeah, that's doable. But then I walked away and I was thinking to myself, and I brought it to you. I'm like, friendships after 40. And I'm like,
should we worry about friendship after 40?
If you got them, you got them. In my head, it's either you have or you don't. And if you don't, are you really that worried about it?
At 40, are you trying to make new friends? I think at 40, you already established who is there as friends.
Yeah.
You're still obviously you're going to have ups and downs in certain friendships, but you're going to know who is a genuine friend at this point or not.
Start at around 40.
Yeah.
And maybe even before, but I think around 40, because I know for me, just after me hitting 40, one thing I noticed was my patience level for people changed. And so there were either people that were already in my life that I'm trying to think of anybody that came into my life after 40 that I can say is my hundo friend. Like I don't think I have that.
I just refer to those people as acquaintances.
Right.
Because I can't call you a friend. A friend, when you put the title on someone as a friend, that says a lot, because that person knows you on a intimate level, right? Where there's things that you share,
right,
things that you understand about each other. That friend should be able to say, "Oh no, she only likes she."
So you
drinks.
have your core friends, and even that, having your core friends is something that my mom always taught me is. Not everything good to eat, good to talk. So not everything that goes on with you are you going to
sharing it with people.
Right. So you have your 1-2 that you would go to. So you may come to me in regards to personal things that are going on with you, that maybe you have another, let's say, close friend, but you come to me because you just said it. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to what? So you may not go and say it to that other close friend that you have, right?
And I also think, though, I think for me, and you can say for yourself, but for me, I'm not going to say loose at the tongue, but I'm very outspoken. Mm-hmm. And I just speak what I feel in the moment. And I think sometimes that could be too heavy for certain people.
But this is where I'm going with that. That's a stop right there.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. It can be very heavy or come off very harsh for certain people. Because those particular people then, in my eyes, are not your core friend. Because your core friends know that you are heavy at the tongue. You tell it as it is. And they
don't get offended because they know you,
right?
And or if not,
or they're going to put it back at you,
right? So it's just like I have friends. I don't keep friends like that. I'm not that type of person. So I only have selected few people around me. And one person who is genuinely a good friend of mine, I said something to her. I said something to her, and she may be watching this. And I made a statement, and I said, "You always why do you take so long to respond? There's always a delayed response when we're speaking." And I'm like, you seems like I don't know, you're unsure of your response, or is it that you're delaying because you don't know, or why do you delay like that? It's kind of, it comes off weird, right? And she the next day called me and said, when you say I don't like what you said, it sounds like you're saying that I'm like slow or something. And I said, what are you talking about? I never once said that you were slow, because let me tell you, if I felt you were slow, I'm going to tell you that I think you're moving slow. That's just me, right? And I had to say, that was far from what I was trying to say to you. This is what it was, and what I'm trying to explain, right? Not to offend you, but based on the conversation, it just seemed like you're delayed, and I don't understand why you do that. So I had to turn and say, listen, if you felt offended by what I said, that's not what I was trying to do, and I apologize, but I need you to understand, if you can't handle me, then maybe we shouldn't be friends. I said, straight goods. I'm just like, maybe we should not be friends then.
Yeah.
Because this is just who I am.
Yeah.
And if I'm too harsh for you, then you need to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Right? Mind you, we're still friends to this day. As a matter of fact, I think we became even closer, because I think over time she's really understanding me and how I communicate. And I'm not trying to be rude at all. So now, coming around to us, if I were to make a comment like that, you would, if you felt like that by what I said, you'd have said it right there in the moment, right? Yeah. Or you'd have understood what I was saying to you at the moment without feeling offended by what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You understand? Because we just know how to dialogue. Because I'm not a bad friend. I feel like I'm a great friend, right? But at the same time, everybody has their own way of how they communicate. And if you're not familiar with that person and their way of communicating, it can come off.
Yeah.
Maybe you.
And so there is a little bit on our end that, because I've had to learn this, especially where I work. Not everybody can take my directness, right? They, like, if I can come off a little bit too abrupt, too aggressive, when it comes to saying what I have to say. So you may have, because I know I have in, if you want to call it another friend group per se, you know who they are. You may have people that are your core friend, they're your friend, and they're just not able to handle directness. So
those friends, okay, good thing that you pointed out. So we understand that. So some people just can't, and we're not saying this because I feel like I'm some special person and I you can whatever. No, we're just speaking about friendships and how at this age you've already unloaded people who just don't align with you or understand you as on a whole, or as a person.
I don't understand,
right?
That.
But here's the kicker: the individual that you had met and said, "What does it look like, friends over 40?" Mm-hmm. Right? This is where you're dissecting your circle to see who's genuine and who's not genuine. And at these points like this, you're going to have friends that just don't understand you. But what do? They don't speak it to you. They go and talk about you behind your back.
Well, no, go back a second. So what I was saying was, in my friend group, if I have people who can't handle maybe how assertive I can be mm-hmm. when I'm saying whatever it is or mm-hmm. giving whatever read. So I myself have had to decide that, okay, if I'm speaking to this particular individual, I have to either soften my tone or change my approach, right? So that's me growing as a person. I've had to do that. But at the same time, I also don't want to know. Don't come to me for realness if you can't handle it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty much, and I think, so my core friends, mm-hmm. they kind of know that if they're not ready to hear the real, I'm not the one you should come to. So then they may approach a different friend in that group mm-hmm. to talk about that because they want the rubbing of the shoulder. They want the, I say coddling. I'm not somebody, I don't even coddle my kids.
But the thing, you don't. But who do I cry to when I need to have a real serious cry?
No, you come to me.
Right.
But you also understand that, sure, I'm going to, okay. But then if you're wrong, I'm also going to tell you about yourself. Mm-hmm. Right? And you're going to stand and take it. You're going to hold that. Till I position it this way. Lisa, tell me if I'm wrong. Right.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Like I explain it to you and just let me know where, if I'm wrong in that situation. And if I am wrong, that's fine. I can accept that. Or if I'm not wrong, tell me how do I, why am I right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, right. Break it down for me. Because I want to know. Because sometimes you just don't know, right? Yeah. Especially if you've been manipulated a lot for quite some time, you're very uncertain about the things that you're hearing and understanding, right? So hearing it, getting someone else's perspective, it helps. The funny thing is, one would say it's bias because if I'm coming to you to talk about something and you're going to give me an opinion, you're giving it from a biased standpoint because we're friends. Mm-hmm. But people don't understand that's not how we regulate.
No.
We're not like that. We legit have our differences and we will speak it. And even if we don't agree, we're not going to walk away with an internal grudge or feeling a certain way because we're not really agreeing with each other. We kind of just take it for what it is.
I have another friend. She's probably going to come on here at some point. So I'm even going to call her name because I can. So Jess is another one who I know I'm going to get it real.
Yeah.
If I go to her and I want to know about something, I know I'm going to get it real, just like you.
Yeah.
And she will, she's not going to sugarcoat it. She's not going to make it sweet in order for me to be able to swallow it, for me to be able to get it down. She's just going to tell me the way it is. And then I've got to hear her. And that's the thing, because I've stood on the outside just watching people in their friendship groups. And you see that, I'm not going to say that they're pretentious, but they are not able to share
they're not genuine.
Who they really are, because maybe they don't want to be judged. 2, they don't want to hear the real answer. They don't want it to be put to them how it really is. So I watch it and I see, and I'm like, you guys are going to call yourself friends because you've known each other for years, but you're really not.
Yeah.
You're really not friends, because you really cannot take what a real friend is going to do for you. And that's key. So friendship, if I go back to that whole friendship after 40 thing, I personally do not think that there's necessarily a friendship after 40 that you need to be looking for. If somebody comes into your life and adds to your life, great, because friends should, definitely be adding to your life.
Yeah.
If you have these friends, I should be able to pick and grow and learn from my individual friends that I have. Right. So if I'm going to have somebody come into my life at the age that I am right now, you must be really coming in there with something.
Substance.
Yeah. Because other than that, I don't need it. I have who I have.
And don't get me wrong, we're not sitting here saying that it's not possible, that you can literally stumble into a new set of friends and one of them just sticks out to you and you guys just mesh.
Hit it off.
And you hit it off, or whatever the case may be. Nobody's saying that. But what we are saying essentially is like at that age, you kind of already know yourself, know what you want, know who you want around you. You're already clicking and meshing with people whom you've celebrated many years with. And those are the people, the closest to you, are the ones that know you at your most vulnerable state and know for the most part a lot about the things that you are going through. Because for me, no one knew the few individuals I had around me. I felt I was never comfortable to share my problems with, except for you.
Because trust.
Because you're the only person that knew what I was going through. Yeah. And even as much as that, there's still some things held back because you're ashamed about it. And shame because maybe you keep repeating the same thing over. But nonetheless, you never shut the door on me to what when it's time for me to, if I'm in any situation I need to vent or cry about it, or, you know what I'm saying?
So you kind of went right into what our next topic would be in regards to, which is knowing as that friend when to step back and when to come forward. So I had to know when Pat was going through what she was going through. I had to make a decision to step back. It killed me, but I had to make that decision to step back. 1, for my own sanity. 2, at the time I thought for her to get her head right, without me being in her ear. There was a bunch of other different reasons, but I had to make that decision to step back. And knowing in my head that I'm stepping back, but not stepping away.
Yeah.
I was stepping back with the thought that I want her to get to where I know she needed to get to as soon as possible. God knows I prayed and I wanted her to get there quickly. But I had to say that I've got to let her figure this out, and hoping that she'll return back to me. That's how I'm going to say it. Because it was literally 2 years.
Yeah. So what what Lisa is referring to, as I'm quite certain from our few episodes, I think we've made mention it. I'm at a threshold in my life where I'm now at a point where I've chosen myself, and choosing me is allowing me to see and understand a lot of things that could have been very detrimental to me in the sense of losing certain people. And so while going through, and this again is not just for myself, I know for a fact a lot of women, and I use the word women, and also there's men too. So this is not just accounting to females, it's just females are almost always the highlight.
Yeah.
And whenever you have a close friend, a close person that for the most part knows your situation, who you share your most vulnerable situations with, and your partner is at the time would be close with the same friend, but when things fall apart, the first person to get blamed would be that close friend that's right beside you, right? And Lisa and I lived that nightmare for some time. And what she's referring to is that to allow for me to breathe, to allow for me to understand, to allow for me to see, and for me to heal, while still married, mind you, she had to step away because she was getting a lot of blame indirectly, and not because she was doing anything. Because like I said before, the reason I want to point out is that a good friend is going to tell you where you're wrong. And she there are some heavy parts, and she told me when I'm wrong, where I'm wrong. Also told me where I'm being stupid at the same time too. Rightfully so, I'll wear that hat. But at times and hard times, you need a person like this to be there for you. And it's kind of crazy because she's getting blamed for things that she don't even know about, or even privy to, or even adds up to her. And also, there's just been a lot, right? But the thing about it is, although she made the decision to step aside over here, I'm glad that she did, because that's where I would have liked to position you, because I didn't feel that it was fair for you to be wearing hats that you don't own. And therefore to now lose something that I feel is valuable to me as a good friend, because good friends don't come around easily. People turn on you. You'll know when a friend is truly there when you're going through your darker place, and that person is either still there with you by your side, as though you're connected like a Siamese twin or something like that, or you have those who legit start to screech your way, and soon pretty all of a sudden you don't even remember that person existed because they're no longer around you, right? And she pulled away, and I wasn't mad at that. I appreciated her for that. As a matter of fact, I loved her even more as my friend, to know that she made that decision to do that so I can figure things out, because it was very dark for me, right? And I'm glad that I did.
And mind you, as I said, yes, I stepped away, but I think you knew that I stepped back. Sorry, not away. I stepped back, but I think you knew and felt confident enough to know that
our friendship was there.
Right. And at the point that you needed me.
Yeah.
I mean, I've proven it. Like, it could be 2:00 in the morning and this B calls me.
And God forbid something is up, she's at my house. And that's just the thing. Like, I knew deep down that I didn't lose my friend. She just needed to pull herself away, also to prove a point that it wasn't you.
Yes.
Right? That was also the thing too, to prove a point that it wasn't her. Right? But because
when this decision was made,
she was nowhere in the picture.
I wasn't there.
Right? But I'll say this. This is something that happens all the time. I have another friend of mine that's going through the same thing that I am. And to this day, her husband literally blames me after this woman has left him at least 2 times. They have to blame somebody because they don't want to blame themselves. And me being a close friend to her and a strong friend, rather than looking back at himself and taking accountability, he'll blame me from this day. Like when I tell you, like this man, and I don't have conversations with him, but I'm to be blamed, right? And all it is that I'm just a good friend. You understand? I'm never that one person that tells you to leave a person. But if the person is doing real harm to you, you're gonna be that voice in that person's ear. You understand? And that's what friends do. Friends are there when you need them. And if you have a close friend and that person calls upon you when you need them, then that friend will show up. No?
It should be.
And they're not showing up for any
it's not supposed to be a friend just to go party with
just to party with and everything. You know a true friend, a real friend, when that friend is there at all time and you walk each other through things. And right now, my other girlfriend, she walks me through things and I help her walk through. But what happens is when people are insecure about who they are and don't take accountability for their own actions of what they did to that significant person, they tend to lean the blame on somebody else. And if you're going through that, because I'm quite certain there's a few of you that may be watching this and experiencing the same thing, or maybe thought, you know what I'm saying? Like maybe that person is this person, maybe she is an influence. No, do your research and think about it before you judge or listen to what that other voice is saying. Because people need to take accountability for their actions. And again, when you have friends that hold you accountable for the things you have done, you have to appreciate that person. Okay?
Definitely.
I have a very, very good friend dear to my heart. And legit, he's had to put people in their place named friends, because for him, it's like, how can I call myself a friend when I can't tell my own friend that he's wrong in what he's doing? Right? And I think for me, Lisa, outside of our friendship, even going as far as my marriage, my ex has done a lot of harm and bad. And one of the things that to this day that really rubs me wrong is that none of his friends seem to want to take him accountable, hold him accountable for all the things that he's done, you know? And rather than not holding people when you're holding someone accountable, you're allowing them to see themselves. But if you're not doing that, you're letting that person continue to be who they are, and not just to whom they think they're with, but to other people down the road. And you can't call yourself a friend. Really and truly, you're just in the picture for the moment and egging on somebody that could be your own daughter that meets a person, you know what I'm saying, that is bad for your child, right? And you're gonna want to scold your child to say you can't be around an individual like this. Why would you be with this person? Yeah. Right? But when it's your own friend and you see your own friend doing the same thing that you wouldn't want your child to do, whatever, why not hold that person accountable? Tell them where they're wrong. Let them admit where they're wrong, right? Let them see themselves. It's important. It's important for the individual themselves, and it's important
I think if
for
you're
people.
A true friend,
you're going to open up to them.
That's how I view true friendship. That's me. I can't tell anybody else how to view what they view, but I view a true friendship on both ends. If you view me as a true friend and I view you as a true friend, I should be able to hold you accountable without passing judgment, but I should be able to tell you, yo, you're crossing the line. What you did was wrong. You shouldn't have done that. You should have done it maybe this way. Whatever it may be. Get mad at the individual if you need to get mad at them.
Because how can you say that you care about that person?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And that means that you need to assess your friends and your friendship.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of yes men. Yeah. Friends that are out there, and the reason why you like hearing for those yes men is because you don't want to be held accountable, right? So you prefer to have people in your ears that's going to say, yeah, that's good, and whatever, and
those are the same people that the yes man or the person that you can par with and have fun with, and that's all you can do with that person. But when now problem comes knocking at your door, you can't find those people. You cannot find that person because they're not about you. Yeah, they're about what they can do with you. So can we have fun? Can we whatever? But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, a true friend is gonna be there and let you know when you're wrong, right, indifferent, whatever it may be. They're gonna put it to you.
Yeah, and you have to appreciate that.
You have to appreciate.
You have to, because if you don't appreciate it now, later on you will appreciate, because that person ultimately saved something for you.
Yeah,
they save something for you, right?
And sometimes sometimes what you have to be able to do is to when I tell you things, this happened before. You actually came to me. You seeked my if you want to call it guidance, and or my opinion. And when I gave you my opinion, it kind of got stuck here. Mm-hmm. And you came off the phone, and I don't know if it was the next day or a couple days after, you came back to me and you said, and it was not to say I was taking his side, but it was what your response and what you basically were trying to put to me was why you said or did what you did where he was concerned. And I told you where you were wrong and in how you said it and how you could have handled it differently. And it kind of stuck here. But then you came back to me and you said, I get it and I see where you are going with it. I didn't like hearing it at the time, but I get what you're saying. And sometimes that's necessary to do. Step back, let the knot ease down a little bit. Think about what it is that the person was trying to get across, and then come back from there. Because it's not easy sometimes. No. There's a lot of things that we've discussed. That wasn't the only time. There are things that we have discussed, and I know that it kind of got under your thing. If it's okay for me to talk to one, when you were going through all what you were going through, there was in one particular moment when out of nowhere you were just basically telling me that you were going to get baptized. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't. I'm not against. Oh, nobody coming for me.
You better correct this. Make sure.
Yeah, I'm not against anybody choosing to go down that road and become one, or I don't know, what do you want to call it? So reborn.
It's rebirth.
Rebirth. Yeah, I'm not against it. When I'm ready, I know you can't tell me I can't do it. But at the time of what she was going through, and as she said, I knew everything pretty much. So based on what she was going through, I didn't tell her, no, don't do it, because that's not for me. I'm not telling you no, not to do something. But what I did was I asked her real questions. I came at you and I asked you and I wanted to know, so where is this coming from? Why are you choosing to do this? And I remember specifically, you were not pleased because I was not absorbing what you were saying. And in your head, you were thinking, oh, you're not even happy for me. Like, this is something I'm choosing to do. And you're not happy for me. And you came off the phone irritated with me. But then you came back later on, I don't know how far down again, but you came back later on, you understood where I was coming from. Mm-hmm. I wasn't telling you not to do it, but I needed you to dial back into your head to understand your reasons for doing it. Because there's plenty of people who do this for certain reasons, emotionally, what they're going through or whatever, and that don't last no period of time, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So it was that was me holding her accountable. I needed her to explain to me why you're making that choice right now. Mm-hmm. Why is it that it has mm-hmm. to happen right now? Mm-hmm. With everything that you're going through. Are you in the right headspace for that? Mm-hmm. Right? So, yeah, she was irritated with me. You'll get over it. You know what I mean?
No, but at the time, yes, when, for me, I'm thinking,
she didn't even invite me to it.
I'm thinking, oh my God, did you have to throw that out there? So at the time, I was thinking, why was she, oh my gosh, why is she saying that? She sounds so negative, or whatever the case may be. And it's something that I wanted to do. I felt that it was something that I wanted to do. I felt that it was something right for me to do. I felt that at the time, that was the right thing to do. And it's not that she was against me doing it, as she said, because I would be lying if that was the case. It was just confusing because she knew of all the things that were happening, and I'm reiterating that. So in her head, it's like, what? You know? And again, this is why this was probably the one time when I'm like, I don't want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, your truth didn't fit well with me, but the truth was what you said was right. You know, because often enough it was that moment where you want that person to agree with what you're doing and what you're saying.
Champion it. Yeah, go ahead.
But again, there was confusion. Again, there was a lot going on. And so therefore it didn't make sense at the time to do it. Right. Not to say not to do it, but at that specific time, it just didn't align, you know, with what she was already privy to and what was happening. When you're in those dark places, all you're doing is searching for answers. You're searching for how to fix. You know, and that was my how to fix in the moment. You know what I mean? And I did it, and I'm glad that I did do it because that was something that I accomplished for myself at the time. Yeah. And but going what you're saying, it still didn't solve solve anything. No. It didn't change what I was going through, because what I was going through was existing and it was real. You know, it wasn't something that, you know, it's going to happen and all of a sudden you're going to wake up tomorrow and your story starts again from another place. No, it was still literally all there. So I appreciated Lisa for being that voice to me at the time. I didn't appreciate it, but later on, once I really started coming into my senses, once I'm really starting to open up now to the things that she wasn't privy to when she decided to pull back, there's a lot of things I didn't share with you. And we probably spoke like, I don't know, once every 2 months or if that. Yeah. And that was but I just know though I could always call on you. But that was pretty much our picture at the time, you know? And again, this is coming from a place of choosing to not knowing yourself and choosing to believe that this makes more sense, you know? Talking about these things, I don't know if it sounds irrelevant or if it sounds like we're rambling, but I think the most significant thing behind what we're saying is just identifying true friendships. Yeah. Right? Because again, you don't find that. You really don't find that. You know, and we're to show you that I'm so confident in my friendship with her that I legit have a few friends, and that's purpose. I purposely live my life that way. Where Lisa has more of a set of friends that I'm aware of, but that's her other side, and I'm none too jealous, envious, or bothered by that. I just know when we show up for each other, and you know what I'm saying? Like she's here, right.
We got to wrap up, but the one thing that, like, we lived literally, she's the, what do you call that? The leg of the T, and I was here. Yeah. And even though we were literally walking distance from each other,
we still stayed in our own home. We were on the phone.
We would be on the phone, but we're literally walking. Every now and then we may go. I might go over by her. She might come over by me. But what I'm trying to say is we knew when to give each other space. We knew that, okay, she understood that I had another circle of friends over here, that I would do things separately from her. Yeah. You're married. You're over there. Yeah. You can't come to this place where we're going. We may not talk for a week. And then all of a sudden, the next week we pick up the phone and we're talking forever. We talked about this in the beginning of that's how we are. We could stay on the phone for hours, you know, and talk. So that is how I would say that you should be. If you're going to let somebody in this juncture of your life be in your life, that should be the dynamic between you and that friend. you should be able to, come forward when you need to come forward, dress back
when you need to step
when you
back.
need to dress back.
Yeah.
And there's no animosity or nothing going on there. There's no jealousy. There's no nothing. I understand you. You understand me.
And knowing that you're so connected with that friend, you still have your own identity.
Yes.
And that's what you have to appreciate.
Yeah.
Because you have some friends who swear they were like twins. And nothing is wrong with that, but you still have to own your own identity.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Very essential.
She don't like soca.
I don't. Don't tell the people them that.
No, you don't.
Okay, I don't.
You don't.
There's some songs.
No, you belt, but you don't. Yeah.
But that's it.
Can you walk up? No.
I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do that. I don't do that.
Right? But I love my dance hall. So when it's time for, well, not anymore. We don't go out. But when when I'm ready and I want dance hall, right here. When I'm ready and I want my soca, she ain't getting called because no. And even when we're actually in parties and the soca comes on, I've gone right up to the front to go carry on with myself, and she's just there in the back.
Yeah, that's just me,
right?
This Patty.
That's our friendship.
But is there what's one of our craziest circumstances? You ever think of one of our craziest experience as friends?
Club deal? Okay, we weren't close that time. What our craziest experience? Yes, I have one. We always talk about it.
What?
The one when we went to New York.
Oh my gosh!
Where we thought we were going to lose our life.
No, we
We're not going to talk about it.
We're not going to talk about it.
No. But yes.
That was another moment where we were telepathically speaking to each other.
Even though I was in the back seat, she was in the front. She knew. Because she could look in the rearview mirror and see my face. So yeah.
Oh, sorry.
So makeup. Yeah. Wrap it up, Patty. But yes, we have definitely had crazy moments. Had to dig ourselves out of a hole many a times that we may have created ourselves. Yeah.
I think one of the most valuable time in our friendship is where we really connected is when we went through those years running things on our own, and not having our people around. You can read between the lines what we're talking about there, but we're not going to explain that. Just figure it out. And we had to lean on each other for legit. Like we had to lean on each other. I think like we're at each other's home like every day. Like we're just across the street from each other. I think on the other side, but.
Well, not across the street, but
separated by the highway.
I didn't even think about that. We had another time when we were just literally like just the highway separated us. Yeah.
You're just always there when I need you, and I don't know if I would be able to survive what I'm going through not having our friendship. To be quite honest with you, I look like whenever there's a situation, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to call you and say, listen to this. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's just an immediate thing. And people may not like that. People may be jealous of that, think that it's whatever. But I think we call ourselves sisters from another mother. But I don't think I have
from a different sister.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
what
another mother.
Oh,
you said sister from another mother.
See,
it doesn't even rhyme.
Does it?
Stop sipping so hard.
Okay. So, yeah.
That's why you got hiccup.
That's why I have hiccup. But anyways, what I'm saying is that, I just feel like you'll always have that one friend in your life, that one specific person that is your every thing, that person that stands up for you, that person believes in you, that person that's going to tell you if you're wrong, that person going to tell you if you're right, that person's going to be there for, when you need a shoulder to cry on. That person going to need when you need somewhere to lay your head, because you can't do so maybe where you are at the moment, maybe whatever the situation is, just try and have that person in and around, and especially when you're going through your worst and that person is still there, right there beside you, going through it with you. you know that you have a real one beside you. And if you have someone like that as a friend, you make sure that you continue to nurture that relationship, because it doesn't come that easy, you know. And I'm just glad that I'm able to experience that. Hence why Lisa and I are here doing these podcasts, because our podcast is not just about one thing, as you can tell. It's just about life, and the life that experiences that we've been privy to and that we've experienced, that we know of other people around us, things that we're like, what the fuck? Like things that really anger us, and to just using this platform to really vent, talk, share, you know what I'm saying, laugh, and just really just showcase life from our lens and what that looks like for us.
Yes.
You understand? So thank you for watching on a
Cheers to that.
Right now.
True friendship.
True friendship. So thank you for watching, and thank you for tuning in to us at Woman to Woman Wednesdays. Please make sure that you like, share, and
subscribe.
Subscribe to our page. There's so much more things that we want to talk about. So many different people coming into our show.
We want you to even share. If there's something, like I said, people will meet us on the road and say, you know, or we get-togethers or whatever, and say, hey, I want you to talk about that. Share it. In whether it be on social media, YouTube, whatever, share in the comments. Like if there's something that you'd like to hear us address, or something that, you know, you're wondering, you know, how we would handle it,
what we would talk about. I think the most important thing is that sometimes we all have a mind to think, but not everybody is willing to share what their thoughts are. So on this platform, we share. Yeah. We're not trying to hold back. So let us be your voice by telling us what you'd like for us to talk about. Because just as us talking about it, it's helping somebody else understand, or making that person know that they're not the only one.
Yes.
And I think that's the key in our chats, is that we know 150% that they are women alike that has the same problems, don't know what to do, want to hear about this, want to hear about that. How do you fix it? How do we whatever? We're not doctors, we're not counselors, but we definitely can speak and share our experiences, so it will help you in some way or the other.
Yes.
But anyhow, that's what friends do. We chat. Thanks, and we're chatting too much. So thank you so much for tuning in. You have yourself a great night. Cheers.
I touch that 5 for you. I do that 3 more times again. I testify for you. I told her like you, that bitch, I do it all, and I'm around you.